I will not die. Not yet, amigo.
Hey guys, once again, welcome back. This time I'm gonna be playing the hottie himself, Fernando. Fernando is a very versatile frontline champion. He can play really aggressive and push the enemies back, or he can play really defensive, on point, use his shield and protect his allies. My personal playstyle is a mix of both offense and defense, with a little bit of a focus more on defense. This is my loadout, and along with the talent Scorch, it really helps me play that offensive and defensive playstyle. I'm usually able to deal a ton of damage while still being able to maintain good control over the point. So the match is about to start here, and my team was suggesting that we attack through the right side, but when you look at the other team, we see that they have an Ashe and a Drogoz with Combustible. Both offer huge potentials for knockback, and you don't want to go on the right side on this map because you don't want to get knocked off the map. I see a Xin here all alone, so I charge in on him. I quickly retreat as soon as I see that he was being healed by Ceres, so I knew I couldn't damage through the heals that Ceres had until I had Cauterize 3. With the loadout I have, and in general while playing Fernando, it's important to always keep a keen eye on your HP and pop out that shield as soon as you start to hit about 1/3 of your HP, which gives you time for your healer to heal you back up, or it gives time for you to regen your health, either through your loadout cards or just out of combat regen. So I'm playing around this area very hard because it's a good place for Fernando, because often you have groups of 2 or 3 enemies lined up, which is a perfect opportunity for you to use your fireball with the Scorch talent. So you see that as soon as I see the target that I'm attacking being healed by Ceres, I switch targets immediately and move to someone else. That's important because until you get Cauterize online, you cannot damage the heal output from Ceres. So right here I notice the Ashe and Ruckus. So instead of just being in the same position that I was before and attacking, I adjusted my position a little bit so that my Scorch would go through the Ruckus and hit the Ashe for the bonus damage. I got a lucky kill on Drogoz there because he lost control of his flight or whatever and decided to jump off the map. Now at this point we've lost the objective, so we need to make sure we hold off for as long as possible. This choke point right here is a great place for Fernando to stand, because your shield is wide enough that it can cover the entire entrance, giving good cover for your team so that they can lay down the pressure on the enemies that are trying to push the payload in. Unfortunately, with that Ceres ulti, they were able to push through the defense, despite my shield saving me from the ulti. Notice how I'm using my shield here in the doorway to give cover to the Cassie that was standing behind me, so that she can safely poke at the enemies. So I get a quick kill on the Drogoz over here, and I immediately charge behind Ashe to prevent her from being able to knock me off the map. At this point, we had managed to push them back enough that Ashe was pretty much surrounded by us, and she got picked off. I see the Ruckus try and engage the Cassie, so I get in between them in order to prevent Cassie from taking too much damage from the Ruckus. Since I had Cassie safely behind me at that point, I ulted to counter the Drogoz ultimate, while at the same time holding that position so Cassie can safely poke at them. Now I know the Damba is behind me, so I quickly pop up my shield to prevent any more Cauterize from being applied on me, so that Damba can really heal me. Unfortunately, I get knocked back into a really bad position there by Drogoz's Combustible, and I end up falling. While picking up items here, I go for the cauterize too, because Fernando is one of the best champions to apply cauterize consistently on the enemy. I was considering getting morale boost, but I decided to hold off and save credits so that I can get cauterize 3 because of how valuable cauterize 3 can be and how strong cauterize is on Fernando.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
With the timer ticking down, I just want to keep them away from the payload while making sure I stay alive. And our defense was good enough, and we were able to prevent them from pushing the payload in. Now, I'm not too surprised that they got the first point. Early game, Ceres's heals are really strong, and it's very difficult to outdamage them. Later on, towards mid and late game, once cauterize 2 and cauterize 3 starts getting picked up by our team, it's much easier to deal with the heals from Ceres, and we can play a bit more aggressive and get the point. So Damba's asking Inara to go directly onto the point this time, because last time we clearly didn't have any objective presence. Since I know that Inara is going to be taking care of the point control, it frees me up to be a bit more aggressive and play more in their backlines. If I'm able to target and focus down the Ceres, it can be a huge advantage that will go in our favor. A great ultimate from Moldamba there, essentially cutting Ruckus off from the rest of his team and the Ceres, letting us get an easy kill on the Ruckus and the Zin. I aimed this fireball in an attempt to get both the Drogos and the Ceres, but Drogos was the only one that ended up getting hit because Ceres went into her shadow walk. I was gonna go ahead and start zoning them out, but I heard Ashe come in from the left side. So instead of going forward, I decided to go through the left side and stop Ashe from coming into the point. Now that I push them back, I can safely hold this position in here. I hear the Drogo's ulti charging up, and I ultimate to counter it, and Drogo's being in that compromising position because of his ultimate was able to be picked off by us. I chase the Ruckus and the Ceres back, and I'm faced with an interesting decision here, which is why you see me hesitate and look left and right over there. I can either help the Inara and take out the Ashe, or I can continue to chase the Ceres and the Ruckus back. In the end, I ended up choosing the more aggressive option because I knew that Moldamba was there with Inara, and along with Moldamba's help, I was certain that Inara could take on the Ashe. My decision was rewarded with a really satisfying triple fireball that got huge damage on the Zin, ended up killing him. I could follow up with a kill on Inara, and then Ruckus was easy target all alone over there. With most of the enemy team down, we were able to capture the point and then get another bonus kill on the Drogos. The Drogos made a huge mistake there in trying to engage us when he was all alone, which ended up in his death, and now we have the advantage because the fight is 4 versus 5. They did manage to group up, however, but not before we got the payload pushed past the first choke point. Here you can see the Drogo's bug on combustible that has been bothering me that entire game. The little explosion noises just continue to repeat again and again, which is really annoying. Hi-Res, please fix! Another really nice bug that you see here is that Cassie's ulti doesn't reveal the enemies to me. I completely lost my focus here because of the Drogo's bug and the Cassie bug, and I ended up making a stupid mistake which led to my death at a crucial point during the push. I pick up morale boost here, which is not something that I pick very often on Fernando. I more often than not go for the master riding that allows me to play more aggressive. But in this particular instance, I decided to go for the morale boost because I wanted to make sure I always have my ultimate up to counter the Drogo's ultimate. I keep up my defense here, hoping for them to make a mistake, and luckily Ashe overextends and gets killed. I start to advance forward using this pillar as cover because you don't want to be walking face first into a barrage of Ruckus's bullets. You can see that despite my taking cover, Ruckus was still able to do a ton of damage to him. I see that Drogo's out of position out here, so I charge in to quickly close the distance. Fortunately, a last-ditch effort combustible from Drogo's managed to knock me out into the open. Fortunately, with clever use of cover and timing my charge just right, I was able to get to safety and Maldamba was able to heal me up. Ruckus, however, is having none of that. Noticing that I was low on health, he charges in to try and get the kill. A barrage from Drogo's and Ruckus's constant damage was able to burn through my shield and I was forced to retreat. With Inara and Leon dead, followed by Cassie, we were forced to give up the point over here. What I did here was a huge mistake. I, for no reason, dived in 1 versus 5 in an attempt to extend overtime a little bit. Sometimes it's better to just give up the point and face a failed push rather than diving in and dying. Because if you dive in and die, you're just unnecessarily giving your opponents more credits to use against you in the following rounds. At this point, I've died thrice so far, 2 of which were really bad mistakes, which I shouldn't have done and could have easily been avoided. But despite that, I'm optimistic about this point because if you look on the top left corner of the screen, all 5 of us have our ultis, which is going to give us a huge advantage going into the next round. I quickly pick up a last second rejuvenate there, since I'm already maxed out on Cauterize. My next move is to probably max out rejuvenate. Unfortunately, the Cassie bug is still there, and her ulti didn't help me at all. If I had the reveal advantage, I might have been able to position myself better, or maybe get a better flank in, but as it stands, I just went into my usual spot and decided to hold that point, since without vision that's probably the best place to be. So I hear the Drogo's ulti here, but I can hear that it's going away from me and not towards me. So I decided to hold off on my ulti until a couple of seconds later. Xin coming in and I pop my shield in an attempt to recover some of my HP. Unfortunately, Xin just ulted through my shield and I wasn't able to recover fast enough and I ended up falling. As I go back towards the fight, I look at my allies' health and try and gauge from which direction I should come in from. This time I decided to come in straight forward because that seemed to be where all the action was. We got a nice kill on the Drogos and the Ruckus there, allowing us to capture the point. I have my shield here, holding the ground, zoning them out so that they can't come in and touch. Unfortunately, Xin had already come from behind and gotten the trigger off on the overtime, but since it was 1 versus 4, it was easy for the rest of my team to take out the Xin, while I held off the Ashe. With Leon's help here, I'm comfortable enough to go aggressive on the right side in order to make sure we zone them out, keep them in this area, so that Inara and Maldamba can push the payload without facing any resistance. But I ended up playing too aggressive, going in too deep, and I died because of that. I finish up Rejuvenate because Maldamba's been healing really well and I really want to capitalize on that. Here, even though I see the Xin in front of me, I don't dismount because I see that Inara and Maldamba can handle themselves, so I stay on the mount until I'm able to charge the point. You always want to stay on your mount for as long as possible. These constant knockbacks from Drogo's and Ashe, along with the threat of Ceres' ultimate, resilience is going to be a good item to pick up here. I hear the Drogo's charging his ultimate yet again, and I use my ultimate in an attempt to counter it. I was a bit late though, and my Inara ended up falling. Zen got the charge in on Maldamba, and Damba fell as well. With the main tank and our healer down, we need to play really defensive until we can regroup and get another good push in. I'm getting really low on health here, and I don't want to die, but Xin got a charge through my ultimate and I ended up falling. I made a mistake there in not playing defensive enough. Like I said, I knew the Inara and I knew the Maldamba had died. So what I should have done was backed up and play even more defensive. And now because of my mistake, we got staggered really hard and we got pushed back really hard. There's little hope for us now to take the point. So it's better to just play defensive and not give them too much credit.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, enemy killing spree. What?
As the timer reached 0, I really should have been running back. But once again, I make the same stupid mistake and I dive in 1 versus 5, even though I know that there's no way we can push the point. The score is 3-3 right now, and the enemy team is on a huge streak. So far we haven't been able to push, but we've been able to capture twice. So that's my hope for this final round, that we can do what we've been doing consistently and capture the point, zone them out, and hopefully get the win. As usual, Inara is going to go for the point. I'm going to try and play a bit aggressive, push them back, and maybe get a few key kills off. Once again, Cassie's ultimate is of no use to me thanks to this bug. Because I have no vision, I flank right side, and here Inara made a mistake of going all the way back, way out of range of Maldamba's heal, forcing me to stay on the point, preventing me from playing aggressive and getting a few important kills off. Because of my decision, we were able to get objective time up to 45%. When it's the last round, every single percentage point of that matters a lot. So it's important to grab it when it's free, which is why I disagree with Inara's decision to leave the free point in order to flank. It's not looking good for us here. Inara just died yet again, and they have solid control over the point. Since I know Maldamba has my back, I charge on to the point to prevent them from getting any more objective time, since they were already at 87%. I pop my ultimate over here to make sure I don't lose the point. I was able to hold it off long enough so that Inara could come in. Things are looking a bit grim for us, but thanks to that amazing double kill from Cassie over there, we were able to clean off the Ruckus and the Drogos. With most of their damage gone, we were able to secure the point. We get a pick off on the Ashe here. Unfortunately, Drogos charges in, and without my ultimate, I wasn't able to save Inara. But in the end, we managed to get the point and secure the victory. It was a really close game, and it was loads of fun. There were lots of decisions to be made during the game. I hope I was able to explain some of the better decisions that I made that led to our victory. And at the same time, I hope I was able to explain the mistakes that I made so that you guys know what not to do. Looking at the final scores here, we seem to have done okay. I have a bit more deaths than I would have liked, but I'm happy with the damage and the shielding that I did. It really shows how versatile Fernando can be in terms of both offense and defense. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and as usual, I appreciate any feedback you guys might have, so let me know. I hope you all enjoyed. Bye!